I really don't believe there's a boogeyman out there, nor do I want to believe it. However, in my young years, I had some experiences that I go back to. And for instance, let me give you an example. Probably when I was in the 20s or whatever, and I was going through some real emotional things, I got into bed one night and I was going to sleep, and I really felt this big, dark heaviness come over me, and it felt like a person got in the bed with me. And it was extremely frightening. Now, granted, I know what you're going to say, because I was going through a lot of emotional issues. And so I was probably attracting whatever this was. But I'm telling you, it felt so real to me, this dark thing. And it got in the bed. And my grandmother was what you used to call her, they still call a spirit-filled Christian or whatever. And she always taught me, anytime you get in a situation where you feel fearful, say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. I command you to leave right now, and you have to. So, go away.
And I acknowledge your existence.
I didn't say that, but I said,
but that's inherent in those words.
Yes, exactly.
I see you as big, bad, and awful.
Right.
And I will stand against you.
That I really felt this. I felt this thing in the bed with me, and I was scared. You know what, Liz? I was like, oh my God, the boogeyman does, and here he is. And so, I just started repeating, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. I command you to leave immediately. And he left. I said he, so whatever. But anyway, he left. Of course, I sat up all night with the lights on and talking to everybody on the phone and getting everybody out of bed all night long, because I was really petrified with it. And so I kind of reflect back on that when...
Let's bring this round to what we're talking about. So what we are saying to you is, so your grandmother had taught you what to do when you meet an evil force.
Yes.
Or what you perceive to be.
Yes.
And you believed in what she said and practiced it often enough that you knew exactly what to say. So just like taking the pill when you are wanting to recover from sickness, you had a known antidote ready and offered it, and your belief in its ability to work caused the sensation of whatever it was to lift from you. And you say, so I'm glad that I have this antidote or this remedy or this exorcism in my pocket because I can protect myself from whatever. And we say that is certainly one way of going about it, just like pills or medicine are one way about going about reclaiming your health. Mm-hmm. Anytime you want something and you offer a thought or an action that you believe will cause you to get the result that you want, you have, in essence, lined up energy. So that's one way of going about it. Another way of going about it is to acknowledge that only well-being abounds, and that if anything could crawl into bed with you like that it is a thought form, it's the spin-off of man's conscious thought, it's coagulated around you because of some worrisome thought that you were thinking, it doesn't have any power of its own. Next time you see it, you'll laugh and say, hi, how are you? And eventually you can come to the place where you'll say, I can't even remember experiencing anything like that. Esther remembers going to church as a little girl where they were having social activities and walking home in the dark. And she had about a half a mile to walk. And on this particular night, none of the street lights were lighted. And she was frightened. And she had on a heavy coat. She lived in the snow country. And her coat had big buttons on that she used to laugh and say the buttons were so big they were like dog dishes. The buttons were so heavy that they would constantly cut through the thread. And so Esther had pinned her buttons to her coat with big safety pins that held the buttons in place. So on this particular night, she is walking home, and the girls at church had been talking about the devil and about how he lurks everywhere and how you have to watch out. And Esther was walking home in the dark, certain that he was lurking. And she came down a very dark trail on her way home, and a neighbor boy who lived around the corner jumped out of the bushes at her
Hmm.
to scare her. But because she was prepared for the devil himself, she had already taken her button off and put it in her pocket, and she had her safety pin ready. And she wounded this poor boy severely before he was able to tell her who he was. She was geared up and ready for anything. And that experience sort of shocked her into a different orientation. Somehow she, in that moment, realized that her fear and corresponding action were much more damaging than anything that she had ever found lurking in the bushes. In other words, all of those stories and all of that horror that had been presented to her, and the worst thing that ever happened is that she badly hurt her neighbor. And so there isn't anything worse lurking in the bushes for you than that. Really. Certainly nothing that has any power to assert itself into your experience. And the worst thing that can happen to you is that you can scare yourself into the place of disallowing your well-being. In other words, we are not wanting to deny that there is something that you can acknowledge as real any more than we would try to tell you that cancer isn't real. But cancer does not jump into your experience without a vibrational invitation, nor does anything that is uncomfortable, you see. And so when we get into these sorts of discussions, it's always uncomfortable because we cannot say that it is not reality because you have the ability to create anything. But we so much want you to understand that there is nothing that is out there that has the ability to assert itself into your experience. And all of these stories of protection and warning are advocating and encouraging the perpetuation of the things that you do not want. Physical man has such a distorted view because he does not understand law of attraction. He does not understand the law of inclusion. And so you have a war against drugs and a war against AIDS and a war against cancer and a war against terrorism. And your attention to these things causes more people to activate within themselves vibrations that cause them to include more of those things. And then they take the results of their activation as facts that they now use as the evidence to support their claims to frighten more people into the attraction of more things that they do not want. And then they go to great lengths to bring statistics and data about it, all to prove the existence of it. And we say, we're not arguing with anybody about the existence of anything. We're just encouraging a selective sifting of that which you want to attract into your experience. And we will never, no matter how many discussions we have, acknowledge that there is a source of cancer or that there is a source of evil. In every case, it's the shadow in the corner where the light was disallowed. That's all it ever is. And so the way you shine light on things is to look for what you want. You're just not ever going to be able to protect yourself from unwanted things because the protection of it activates the vibration of it and brings it into your experience, and you can't get around it.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense.
So next time someone says you need to protect yourself from something, say to them, write out, protection of what I do not want is an invitation of what I do not want, because I cannot protect myself without activating the vibration that is the invitation. I choose not to think about it. Please speak of this no more to me.
That's wonderful. That's a really great response, because sometimes I get in crowds and people will say, well, Debbie doesn't really believe in all this stuff over here. But it's like, that's right. Debbie doesn't believe in that. I don't like to go there. But they make me feel wrong, you know.
But you do, you see. You do believe. You had an experience, you just recounted it to us, and when you recounted it, you activated the vibration, and it exists within you. And it is only because it exists within you that you keep running into people that want to bring it up.
Gotcha.
And so what you're wanting to do is to move yourself into a new place. So you move yourself into the new place by recounting to yourself some of the things that we've said here today. Everything exists. In other words, there's a potential of sickness, there's a potential of wellness. But friends, use your logic. If there were a source you call devil, and if devil were anything close to what you have made him out to be, don't you think he would have done your damage long ago?
Yes.
In other words, don't you think the well-being that abounds would have been muted by this evil force that exists just to make your life miserable? In other words, use your logic. Well-being is what there is evidence of, and the lack of well-being is scanty by comparison. Look around, you see. Look around.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. How bad can something be that only has the ability to crawl in bed and scare you? Did it touch you? Did it mess up your room? Did it mess up your hair? Did it leave red spots on your body? But what we are getting at is there's no power there. In other words, it's just a whole lot of hoopla about a whole lot of nothing that renders you powerless. And then in your feeling of powerless, then you don't let good things in, and then you make a case for it. We get a little stirred up over something that is such discomfort over nothing. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It's wonderful to come together with those like you who are coming more and more in every day to understand who you are. We really make far too much of this. It's appropriate that you want to feel good, and it's normal that you do feel good, but it isn't wrong when you don't feel good. Just continue to want to feel good and let that be your dominant quest. And don't try to compare how good you feel with how good anybody else feels. Let how good you feel be only important as it relates to how good you have felt. We want you to know that the releasing of resistance is the finding of relief, and that it is possible to find relief in every emotion. There is relief in anger from that feeling of despair, and there is relief in frustration from anger, and there is relief in hoping from doubting, and there is relief in knowing from believing. There is relief in joy and passion and ecstasy, and we want you to know that you will never achieve a state of emotion from which there is not more potential relief. There is no limit to how good we can become or how good we can feel. So just keep reaching for what feels good, and don't compare yourself to how good anybody else feels. And don't try to guide yourself from the outside in. Instead, make a determination that you're going to start guiding yourself from the inside out. And most of all, lighten up and be easy about it. We want you to approach this life in exactly the way you intended as you came forth. It's a creative vacation in which you intended to have a really good time. It's not an assigned project where you are supposed to do something. It's a creative adventure, and you get to decide every moment of the creation. We love watching you, and we love it when you allow yourself to feel the fullness of that which we are. You cannot diminish our experience by choosing a vibration that doesn't allow you to feel us, because we are part of your experience whether you know it or not. So don't do it for us, do it for you. You are supposed to feel good, and when you do, you're having a successful moment. There is great love here for you, and for now, we are complete.